to this place called Pet Paradise in Atlanta, Georgia, the Snowville location. And now my dog's legs are not working. It's not working, okay? Look at her fucking legs, and I brought her back, and they're not helping me. They refuse to help me. She won't even stand up. She won't even stand up.
You're going on a family vacation, but you can't take your loved one, you cannot take your pet with you. So what do you do with your fur baby? You put them in a facility that has decent enough reviews to where you feel like your dog will be okay for a few days until you come back to get them. And hey, before anybody starts talking shit, life is life, and it truly does happen sometimes where you just can't take your animal with you. You don't want to leave them at your house. You don't want to trust somebody to come in and out of your home while you're away just to take care of your pet. And who really wants to leave their dog alone for a few days while they're actually gone away on vacation? So it does happen. People do have to, unfortunately, put trust into a lot of facilities. So it's very important for these facilities who are housing people's pets and taking care of them while they're away to actually meet the most bare minimum and basic standards when it comes down to pet safety. So imagine you find this facility and you trust them enough with your pet to then board your animal. When you come back to get your dog, it has no visible injuries, but is not using his legs that he was once able to use when you dropped him off. And not only is your dog no longer able to walk as he once was, but your questions are, how did this happen? When did this happen? Why was I not notified until I came to pick him up? And are you going to help me with the expenses of figuring out what happened to my puppy? And imagine, while in the process of beefing with this freaking animal company that you trusted to take care of your pets, because that's what they advertise themselves as a very trusted, reliable, and loving, caring facility to place your pets while you're away. Imagine that they then upload a video saying, some people don't want to board with us, and that's totally fine. People make mistakes with this song and hashtag, if you know, you know. Now, I don't know about you, but if I send my pet to a establishment and I'm entrusting them with my dog, and my dog comes back with an injury, or especially one that is going to be a lifelong injury, and they upload a video saying, people make mistakes, oh my god, life happens, with the fucking song. The song is what did it, and then, if you know, you know, I'm going to prison. Like, bottom line, I'm going to jail.
So, I'm a little upset right now, and I need y'all to tell me if I'm bugging or not. So, I just went on a vacation, and I dropped my dog off at Pet Paradise in Snellville, Georgia, right? So, I dropped my dog off. He was staying there from Wednesday to Sunday. I just picked him up not too long ago. So when I sent him there, I sent him with toys, a ball, and I also sent him with a day extra food because I wasn't sure. We were driving to Florida, and I wasn't sure if we were going to be back in time. I always do that. Anywhere I send him food, I always bring back. Like, I always send a day extra with food. You never know, and I always want to make sure he's covered. I went to New York in June. I sent him with extra food, and the extra food got back to me in his basket. I have a basket for him. I'm going to show y'all all that.
Now in this video, she continues to say how essentially she sent her dog with extra feedings just in case she was not there on time, just so he would be covered and they wouldn't have to come out of pocket with their own food. And especially, it's not even just coming out of pocket, but it's the diet switch as well. Like, you want your dog to stay on what their food is. You don't want them switching their diet because it can give your dog, you know, a little bit of a bellyache. So she wanted to make sure her dog was fine, just to find out that they weren't actually feeding him or keeping up with the schedule that she gave for them to keep up with. And not only that, but she didn't get back items for her dog that she specifically sent for him and him only. And like, sure, pain in the ass, but not really the end of the world, right? You just didn't get back your dog's food dishes. But it's kind of the way that the facility handles it that just screams ignorance.
And this is how Cage is eating. Out of these, so this is his tray that he eats out of. Where are his bowls? This is the basket that I sent him with. They sent everything back. Where is his 3 extra bags of dog food? Why is my dog eating like this? So this is it's the next day. It's Monday, 8:41. Hi, pup. And I just got off the phone with them. So this is my checkout that they sent me yesterday, right? as well as this is the person that was last edited by. This is, you know, the reservation, just confirming everything. And this is my receipt on how much I paid for it, right? It's my receipt on how much I paid for, full balance paid off for him, right? Now, I just got off the phone with them and I recorded the conversation. I don't care if they said the conversation was being recorded. I recorded it. So let me play this shit for y'all, right? Let me play this for y'all.
We have some bowls that do seem like they are his, so we'll have them up front and you can come pick them up.
Okay, question. When he was being fed, were he being fed out of the bowls? Because I'm confused how the bowls wasn't added in with his things.
They may have been. Maybe that's why they were used, and maybe somebody forgot to put them back into the bag when they were packing up, and they were left in our kitchen. That's where we found the other ones at that we think are his. So that's probably what happened.
Okay.
Somebody just left it in our kitchen and just didn't pack them with the rest of his stuff. But he did signature, so maybe that's why that was like that.
So if somebody's signature that they fed him, that means that they're feeding him incorrect on the instructions that I gave when I dropped him off.
And you said your instructions were to only feed him.
My instructions were to feed, because she asked me what specific time does he eat. I said 7 a.m.
Right.
8 a.m., 8 p.m.
Last bag.
So that means that they overfed him.
They overfed.
I just needed to get that last part in. They overfed my dog, even though I gave them instructions. Tell me if I'm bugging. I'm not. This is definitely not his. This one is his.
Now, yeah, okay, it doesn't seem like too big of a deal. They overfed the dog. Whoop-de-doo, right? But some dogs do have medical issues, and some dogs do need to make sure that they're taking their feedings appropriately, especially if they have medications on top of their food that they have to be taking with food specifically. And if they're on certain medications, you have to make sure with certain medications you cannot overfeed your dog. It can make them extremely sick and ill. So it is very important, if you're trusting a facility with a schedule, that they are keeping up with that schedule, because again, this is a facility that kind of advertises that they can accommodate dogs with certain needs. So if they do have certain medications, or if they are on stricter schedules with their feeding or their diet, they are advertising like they can keep up with this. And this is something that you should not be worried about whenever you're boarding your dog. And if I'm being completely honest with you, I wanted to show you guys that video to ease into this, because the rest of it is just really fucking bad. Now, Pet Paradise has multiple locations in the United States, and a lot of them just so happen to be in Georgia. And Atlanta was the first video that we took a look at, where the girl got back her Yorkie and said that her dog is no longer able to use his back legs. He's not able to walk, and she's not getting answers as to why that's the case, and they're refusing to help her with medical. Now, I want to be clear, it's not just the Atlanta location that has issues. It is pretty much a majority of their locations that I've seen very negative reviews for. And you can't please everybody, okay? You just can't please everybody. So I know every business, no matter how good, there's bound to be a few negative reviews, whether it's truly meant or not. Sometimes people just have bad days. They're unhappy with your service that day, so they just want to take it out on the business or the company, or get out their frustrations by leaving that review on a thread or wherever the review page may be for that company. But the reviews should not be as bad as this. Now, scheduling mishaps aside, you should not be sending your dog somewhere, or your pet in general, and it should not be coming back with visible injuries or even needing stitches. And with so many people voicing their concerns, which yes, I do want to read some of the comments and the reviews, because I feel like this is very important for people to just make a better decision moving forward when it comes down to boarding their animals with this company. But they give the same copy and paste. It is a copy and paste reply for a majority of these. And Pet Paradise has a TikTok page where they can address these concerns, and they could actually handle this, in my opinion, appropriately, where they could, interact back with the public on this public page instead of just a review page, and, showcase how they are trying to work on tackling these issues, but instead they're just uploading what they find to be quirky, funny, relatable TikToks. Now, I want to take a look at some of these comments, because I do feel like they are important to read, and why I'm making this video in the first place is because, as somebody who... Never mind. Never mind. I can't say what I'm about to say. But I can tell you I've worked with animals, and I've been in certain facilities, and this is just not how you address public concern. Also, I've talked prior on my page, I am a huge advocate when it comes down to animals, and I've talked prior on my page about Rover, there was a very unfortunate accident that occurred with somebody who used Rover services and hired somebody to essentially babysit her dog. The dog was then not cared for as it was instructed to be cared for, and the dog ended up losing its life. And it wasn't just a one-time situation. Rover was kind of known for this to happen, and it's so unfortunate. And again, not everybody on Rover is bad. There are so many people who are actually people you can entrust with your pets. There are people who have the training, there are people who know what to do, and there are people who are dedicated to pets. But again, it's not everybody who is able to sign up for that app that is able to do what is necessary for somebody's pet, and it leads to a lot of really, really unfortunate things that genuinely could have been avoided. And looking at all these reviews to Pet Paradise, this just looks like another situation that could absolutely be avoided if the staff actually take the initiative to make sure that these things don't happen. Sorry for the random cutting gameplay right here, but I forgot to add this in. I do want to be clear at some of the dates on these reviews. Some of these dates go back from 1 month ago all the way up to a year ago, but I do want to show you guys these specific comments just because they do kind of get my attention, because a lot of them do have medically like medicine and other things that really do need to be kept up with. And again, this is a facility you're supposed to be able to trust with your pets to ensure that they're getting their proper medications on the scheduled time, because again, they advertise that this is a service that they have and can provide for you. But the dates are important to me because not only is this a service that they advertise that they can do properly, that you should entrust them to do properly, but it's been an ongoing issue for literally years. Like, this has just been an ongoing issue, and in my opinion, they're not taking it seriously enough. Now, someone said a long review, and this is a longer review, so bear with me, but they said, please do not board your dog here, especially if they require medication administration, because again, this is one of my biggest concerns whenever it comes down to these facilities, because it's not just a one-off or it happened one time at a specific location. This seems to be a shared commonality concern between all locations. I recently boarded 2 of my dogs for 5 nights. One of my dogs requires 4 prescription medications. Upon arrival, I completed the required paperwork that outlines the concentration, medication name, frequency, etc. I also provided the original pill bottles as required. The staff person reviewed the medication schedule, confirming the administration instructions. They reviewed it with her and confirmed the instructions. She said when I picked them up on the 6th day, they returned half of the medication to me. My heart sank, realizing that my dog did not have her medication while being boarded at this Pet Paradise facility. I immediately pointed this out to the staff member, Jade, who is reportedly the manager on duty. She pulled the records and attempted to convince me that the medication was given properly, which was impossible due to the amount of medication that still remained. And this is the part here that really gets to me. Okay, I don't know about you guys, but she said, when I requested a copy of the distribution records, I was told I could not have a copy because the Pet Paradise owned the documents. Yeah, that's so fucking convenient. Now, the manager supposedly called the regional manager, who said they would look into the situation days later. Only after detailing the same events on their automated survey, I was contacted by a staff member, and they told me that they reviewed the documentation to determine that all medication was given appropriately. Again, I asked to speak to the regional manager or staff person that could make decisions and was told someone would call me. And after this, she said it's been more than 2 weeks and I still haven't received a call. Before leaving, the manager suggested that I monitor my dog or take her to the vet since she had not received her medication consistently during her stay. How sad. What's worse is the lack of accountability or willingness to acknowledge the error, although I'm pretty sure someone will conveniently respond to this review. And conveniently enough, someone did respond to the review, and this is actually the owner's response to the facility of Pet Paradise in Atlanta, which is where that dog at the very beginning of this video had that back end issue. I can't say what it is, but could potentially have been a spinal issue with how the dog was, but whatever. It says, "Hi Brooke, thank you for sharing your feedback. We take concerns about medication administration very seriously, as the health and safety of our guests is always our top priority. Our leadership team has escalated this matter and will be reaching out to you directly to discuss your experience in more detail and ensure that your concerns are fully addressed." That was from 7 months ago, and this one is from 3 months ago, where somebody said horrible experience. Took my dog twice, and she was left in a kennel all day both times. The first time they said it was because of a temperament test, and they said it the second time. The second day, I called after not seeing her in the cameras during any playtime, and they told me to check again, and nothing. She said I eventually saw them do the temperament test about 4 to 5 hours after I dropped her off. Even though they said it was done the first day she went, she was out and leashed with one dog for about 2 minutes and was back in the kennel. I took screenshots with timestamps of my dog in the kennel, and they tried to tell me it wasn't my dog, even though I clearly saw her and her leash with accessories on it. They left her alone from 8:30 in the morning to 4:30 in the afternoon with that small 3-minute temperament test. I also saw an elderly dog get left outside for the majority of the day as well. The staff at least acted friendly and my day was comped, but I won't be bringing her back. They forget some of us actually check the cameras. Now, this one was from 5 months ago, and it's a 2-star review, which I don't see why it's a 2-star because of what they state, but they said the staff loved on my pet, which is great, right? But, however, the facility stinks. It smells so bad. The smell of urine hits you in the parking lot. Jeez. I almost passed out when I got inside. My dog was there for 4 days. He smelled like urine when I picked him up. His white paws were yellow, and he was wet and sticky. I gave him a bath as soon as I got home. Someone said, please clean the facility, use tons and gallons of bleach and disinfectant, and Pet Paradise Atlanta reached out. And they said, thank you for sharing your feedback, Tabitha. We're glad to hear a team showed your pet the love and care they deserve, but we're sorry to hear about your concerns regarding cleanliness. This is not the experience we want for our guest. We take sanitation very seriously and appreciate you bringing this to our attention. We'd welcome this opportunity to speak with you directly to better understand your experience and address your concerns. Somebody else had commented from 5 months ago, left a 1-star review, and they talked about, well, they shared that this was an overpriced facility, and they did talk about how they've been going to that location now for the last 5 years, but unfortunately the services in this location specifically had declined over the past 2 to the point where he had to pull from this service. And oh my god, what a plot twist! This is the Atlanta location, the one that we've been talking shit about. And there are tons of other reviews, you guys. I'm not going to get into all of them because we would be here literally for the longest time. There are so many bad ones, but it's Pet Paradise, so you guys can literally find it yourselves and look at the reviews. Now, just to protect myself legally, I do want to tell you guys not to go and send hate and harassment to these pages, but I do want you guys to just keep this in mind for if you do live in the general locations that Pet Paradise is, you know, an offered service in your area. Just, you know, keep into consideration these reviews before you actually go through with hiring them for pet care, for pet boarding, for anything to do with your pets. Like, I do get it, guys. People do make mistakes, and sometimes you don't always have the best staff. You like to think that you do, but it is what it is, and sometimes you get bad eggs, and you have to fire them, and then rehire people, and just pray to fuck it works out. And sometimes you do hire people who aren't the best, and you know, services do decline temporarily while they're there, then you get rid of them and hire somebody else, and it's like a never-ending process. It's like so headache-inducing. But at the same time, if it is that hard to get good employees to actually run these locations, to make sure that the dogs aren't in really poor conditions, to make sure that they're actually getting what they need to on the scheduled time that you guys offer as a service, which is the scheduled feeding, and making sure they get the proper medication. Like, if you just can't keep up with this stuff, 1, don't offer it as a service, and 2, just shut down the facility, right? Like, Pet Paradise specifically, I have seen other bad reviews, but like I said, like, shit happens. There's not always going to be the best reviews for everything, but for this location specifically in Atlanta, the reviews are very concerning. And I feel like the Atlanta location specifically should be one of those things where they're like, okay, GG's, we tried, shut it the fuck down. I have not seen anybody else talking about this yet, but I am genuinely curious to know what your thoughts and opinions are. And again, don't go sending hate and harassment to any of these locations. I just wanted to talk about it to kind of make you guys aware of this ongoing situation, because even though there are a lot of people who do look for reviews and everything before going into a situation, some people don't. And for the love of fucking God, if you take your pet to a service and you're leaving them for 4 fucking days, if it smells like urine in the parking lot and you walk inside the facility and you say, oh, I feel like I'm gonna pass out because that's how bad it smells, don't leave your fucking pet there and then have the gall, the audacity to get back and complain about the conditions after you went through with their services, not happy with them before you even use them. Like, let's not be like that one. Yo, like, I just genuinely could not imagine taking my, like, I don't have a dog, but just, I'll say dog, my theoretical dog. I couldn't imagine taking my theoretical dog to a, boarding facility and being like, oh geez, I am so unhappy with these conditions. See you in 4 days, buddy. And then, like, come back in 4 days and be like, oh, you look like you're covered in pee, buddy. You know what I mean? It's not funny, but out of all the reviews, that one pissed me off the most. I feel like they're both in the wrong there. But I just wanted to make you guys aware of the situation, just in case you do live in an area where there is a pet paradise and something happens one day to where you need to board your pet, because there are other facilities that will board your pet for you, like the vet. Some vets do offer those services. Please do the proper research, you guys, whenever it comes down to boarding your animals, and whenever it comes down to certain situations like this where there are facilities, and I'm not saying that every one of these locations are bad. I'm sure that they have really amazing staff who do genuinely care about these animals, and I'm sure, like I said, I think it's a healthy combination of all of them, but the Atlanta facility is really not doing good for them. And as somebody who's been to Atlanta before, I can say that there are some companies that are like everywhere in the United States, and they have like versions of that in Atlanta, and they're just, it's Atlanta, okay? It's not that great. And I'm not saying all locations are bad in Atlanta, you guys, but I am just saying it is the South, but hospitality, I don't think stretches that far. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. Have you been to Pet Paradise? Have you boarded your pet there? What is your personal experience? But if you have not boarded your pet there, would you? I sure as fuck wouldn't.